Slow down in the digital age. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Photography After Hours. We are here with our special guests from up north, Larry and Scott and Bob and John.
Brian.
Oh, all right, from Prescott, right?
Prescott.
Prescott, like Kit Kat.
Kit, yeah.
There you go.
All the way from Sedona and Prescott, we got Larry and Brian here, and my name is Nick. We're going to be sponsored by, or always are sponsored by, PAC, the Photographers Adventure Club. You can find out more on photoadvclub.com. They do photo walks, workshops, seminars, all kinds of fun stuff related to photography, so check it out. So, slow down. What does that mean?
Wow, it's
You brought this one up, so what does that mean?
It's all on me.
It's all on
now.
you. We're just
All
going to
right.
sit here and just watch.
It's all me. Slowing down the
Wait,
digital
slow
age.
down.
All right, you know, these cameras, they talk about 11, 15 frames per second. People think that that's life, and I know people that they set them there, and they're always just, you know, we say spray and pray, hoping you get something. And I think my biggest tip that I talk to anyone about is slowing down in the digital age, which is this is all about, is to take that time to craft an image. I think Ansel Adams even said that, you know, pictures aren't taken, they're crafted, they're made. You take the time to visualize what you're going to do, and that becomes the craft or the art of actually doing this. So, just don't go out and snapping away and everything, but taking that time to really learn your camera. There's the digital side, the technical side of the camera. At some point, you want that to be going to the background, just become very unconscious, competent.
Supportive instead of
and then be in the moment where you can go, oh, that's got to be f8 or 2.8, or it's going to be, I'm going to do this with it, and begin to craft in composition, and things, and just all the pieces start to come together. So this been in here with this beard caught up with me, but anyways,
For all the 1 minute that we've been in this.
1 minute, you can see on the lightweight, but I really
Two
do.
sips, you're cut off.
Yeah, I am cut off. Now, I do think that it is too easy in this day and age with memory cards. You can buy huge memory cards and you can just put that on
Like
high
at least
speed
4
and-
gigs, right?
Yeah, 4.
oh, easy.
2
Now, I
gig,
think
4
Bill
gig.
Gates said that 1 gig should be, or 100 megabytes should be enough for anyone, right? At
Yeah.
one point. So, anyways, I think that it's just too easy just to put it on high speed and come out, just go, wow, look at all this, go, and just shooting like crazy. Now, that
So,
doesn't
kind of showing up on scene. So, besides a fleeting moment shot, like a rainbow that's gonna disappear in minutes, what's the process? That what do you guys normally do? You show up on scene, something that's not changing. It's not like you have to grab it right now and shoot 1 million frames.
Right.
What's something normal that you would do first?
Well, I think you hit it just a little while ago.
Yeah, well,
Looking at the light and looking at what it is, what's the subject matter going to be, what is it that you want to capture, what's the light, the appropriate settings to go with that light, and
yeah, well, I mean, obviously I'm a wedding photographer, and one of my favorite,
When did you start that?
like years ago,
Where have I been?
one of my favorite wedding photographers, obviously it's Jerry Gionis, and he's always said that, sometimes if you want to get to the destination, you have to slow down, and it's so true because when you arrive, like let's say you arrive early in the morning, you show up in the bride's room or you show up in the groom's room. One of the first things I do is I come in, I check.
Hi, I'm here.
I check for. What's so funny?
never mind.
I don't understand. You guys are cut off.
That's it. 2 sips, done.
That's
1
it.
lick, 2 licks.
oh my gosh,
He's come into the room and he's looking at. You're looking at the light, not the bride. You're looking at.
I wasn't saying that. The first thing I do is I have to break the ice with the bride
Right,
and break the ice with the groom. You have to set the mood.
Right.
You have to set the tone.
right,
You don't just walk in and just start shooting.
right.
You gotta build up confidence. You gotta get them comfortable. And all of this time that I'm talking to them, I'm evaluating them. I'm evaluating the room. I'm evaluating the light. I'm evaluating the whole situation. So in my mind, I'm putting together scenarios and possibilities before my equipment even comes out of the bag.
But that's experience, because you didn't know that the first time you walked in a room.
No,
that you ever did that.
This is all.
But his backdrop's always changing too.
Right,
It's not
and so
like,
there's always a changing variable. Like, I don't know what the hotel room is going to look like when I walk in. I don't know if they even have decent windows. There could be a brick wall on the other side. I mean, I have no idea.
Right.
So I'm evaluating the situation as I walk in, and instead of just pulling out your camera and just starting to shoot, I'm starting to think about ways that, where's the clean backdrop? Where's a place where there isn't like a stack of pizza boxes and beer cans lined up, in the groom's room, and the brides, they got their clothes scattered all over the place. So, I'll come in and I'll start moving furniture around if I have to. I'll push furniture over. I'll clear out a space if I see that this is where the window. And so the first 15, 20 minutes is all preparation for that first shot.
Wasn't there a bit of chaos going on at that point?
Oh, it's pure chaos.
The brides, there's all this tension and all this stuff going on.
It's pure chaos.
They're running around. Bridesmaids are running around.
You have to, like I said, you have to control that situation. Yeah. And so when it's time to get to work, you've already broken the ice. Right. You've already established what it is that you're here to do. You've already filled them in. You've given established a game plan.
Made them feel comfortable.
Yeah, you've already made them feel comfortable. You even cleared out a space to do your work in. And so by the time you get to work, that first shot is always a crafted shot. And it's because I spent the first 15, 20 minutes prepping just for that first shot.
Right. Aren't you glad you do landscape photography? It's like, cactus, stay there. No. All right, we're good.
Well, I can picture that, but that's where the art comes in.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of photographing people. I mean, sometimes you talk about taking control, and I think there's a certain element with all photographers, I think, that like to have control, and you gotta get that.
You have to also establish, like, you have to treat people different too. Like,
right.
You have to kind of know a certain psychology about people. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, when I walk into the groom's room, the atmosphere is a lot different than when I walk into the bride's room.
Yeah, and the mom is in there, and everything going on.
The grooms, I remember I walked into the groom's room, and one of the groomsmen walks up and he says, "Oh, you're the photographer, huh?" I was like, "Okay, so only shoot me on my good side." And I was teasing him. I was like, "Which side is that?" And that just immediately kind of like, all of a sudden now you can joke with them, you can play with them. They know that
Well, you get more inclusive versus you separate over here.
Right. Yeah. So, I like what you're saying, that you don't even pull the camera out of the bag till you evaluate the situation, look at all the different backdrops, look at the bride's complexion and the bride's good side and the dress and all that stuff, the window and all the lights. So it's, again, slowing down is really what our focus is. And you're doing that. You're not even starting. It's not even like you have to slow down. You're like, but your pre-visualization is kind of going at full speed.
Well, but that's where the artistry and the composing or the composition comes into play. Well, that's what you're talking about.
And I do that when I have people come into the studio for portraits. They don't often know me. They come into it, and I started doing more and more portraits. I didn't want to do that, and then I got really interested in it. So I knew I had to learn to edit skin, as I mentioned in other things, is that I had to learn how to do that. But my first thing is to get them to be comfortable, because a lot of them are very tense in front of the camera, and I want to make sure that I'm getting their energy coming out. So those first few shots a lot of times are just for fun, get them relaxed, but I'm not just suddenly just shoving a camera in the face because I got a watch, I got a clock ticking here.
So, a couple of things that are really important for me, and it goes across all photography, I think, is the composition of stuff, but controlling your backgrounds. There's nothing more in the world that drives me nuts, especially with event photography, with exit signs behind people's heads and stuff, and just not that attention to detail.
Awareness,
and controlling your background, controlling not only the depth of field, but controlling what's behind whatever you're shooting. It's
not just the subject; it's the whole
whole scene. Right. So I almost, when I look through my viewfinder, I train my eye to look behind, and then also perspective. It's so easy to just go like this, and now the exit sign's gone, or the stop sign, or whatever. Like, you're cropping in the camera.
Exactly.
Like, do you guys do that?
I do. Yeah. I absolutely do. I mean, technology with the post processing, as we call it, with Photoshop, Lightroom, and all the other things. I mean, it's almost can make people lazy well, I
But
can
some
take
of
it
that
out
stuff's
later.
a pain. I just had someone that shot a whole event for me with exit signs when I said, there's an exit sign back there, don't shoot that
Right.
way. And they're like, okay. And then they did the whole thing, and there's exit sign between everyone's heads, and it was almost impossible to edit out because you have this glow
Right.
of red coming off.
Right.
I even tried to turn it black and white back there and stuff, and I couldn't get rid of it
Right.
without major like masks and stuff. And it's like, you don't have time to go through 500 photos and mask out, this kind of stuff. So it's the easiest way to get fired from working for me is like put exit signs behind people's heads and you're just done.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, just a simple lean. Again, going back
like
to the shoot we did.
Or get
just
lower.
this
You get
afternoon.
lower and now the exit sign's behind them.
Right. You can move just the slightest bit and totally take a bad thing and make it great.
Well, one of the things that I like to do with people, and I run a photo walk like this, I'm going to probably do it multiple times more, is just tell them to put on a prime lens, or if they have a zoom lens, put a piece of tape that fixes like 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters is a great thing just to walk around with. That's your lens for the day. I'm going to give you 2 hours to shoot 12 images, and you got to tell me a story along the way. So I did this in Jerome last year, and we're going to do it again this year. People loved it because it forced them to slow down, think about every shot. Because if they pulled the trigger, it was as if they had a roll of film, and that's all they had. They didn't have a memory card with 1,200 images they could put on it in RAW and 2,500 in JPEG.
Sure.
So they basically had to slow down and think about two things: the story and what am I going to shoot. And how am I going to make that all come together?
Once upon a time, there was a girl and a boy, and they got to like sit there and like read this off to you the whole time.
Well, I remember. Well, yours, if I'm not mistaken, you took pictures of various windows and stained glass.
Actually, no, I did ceiling tiles because Jerome is full of old buildings.
Yeah, the old,
and there's old
metal ceiling tiles.
metal
copper.
So sometimes I shot through windows. That's
Firefighter's best friend to cook you. You go in there and just turns it into an oven.
Yep. And so you just look through a window and through doors. Sometimes in there shooting up, or there's a lot of different ways to approach it, and those kind of things slow you down. Sunsets and landscapes, the sunset's moving on you, but still take the time to get the same. You don't need 20 safety shots to make sure you got it.
No, you just, there's, and always wait till the end of the sunset, it's like actually after it goes down in Arizona at least of when the good shots are. So a couple of different things. You want to compose, less is more definitely. Think, look, and see. So, don't just, again, pull the camera out and just start shooting. Get some perspective. Look at the background. Look at the different angles. Because, I teach in my 101 class perspective of, here's a rose. Okay, here's a rose, same rose, 10 different ways. Looks totally different. Shoot it from the top, shoot it from the side, shoot it from down low, shoot it this way. There's all different ways to make the same object that's a stationary object look differently.
Well,
never mind lighting and lighting it differently. That's a whole nother ball of wax.
Well, that's the other thing is sometimes you get on location, you walk straight to the edge of that overlook, and you got the vista, and you take a shot from there. That may not be the best shot. Maybe you need to go over here and over there and check it out first. And another thing that I always tell people is turn around and look behind yourself. Sometimes I turn around and the best shot's behind me because the light is just spectacular, and I would have entirely missed it. So this process of slowing down and thinking about your shots and not just shooting away. Okay, you saw a thing there, take a shot, but then take the time and turn around. You don't have a penalty with digital now, but again, you don't need 500 shots from a sunset.
Right, exactly. And think differently. When we go to Horseshoe Bend, I'm thinking about the vista when you said that. I do a panoramic, or you can do a panoramic this way. You can do so many different shots to capture more. Step back, take pictures of people taking pictures. A lot of times there's a cool shot too where there's silhouettes of people on the edge, and it adds perspective to how big it is. So it's like I always was trying to get people out of my images, and now it's like, well, you leave them in sometimes.
There's a place.
Yeah. Fireworks. When we shot the Tempe Town Lake fireworks, I was always trying to get people out of it, and then I stepped back and I'm like, that's pretty cool, little kid like pointing at the fireworks, and it just adds to the shot that you're like, okay, everyone can take pictures of fireworks, but now I'm behind it, and that's the better shot sometimes of that perspective of how big they are and how little.
Well, it's
the
like
kid is.
when we were at Vegas and everybody's shooting the fountains at the Bellagio,
Yeah.
and everybody tries to get right up close to get like a clean shot of the Bellagio, and I was like looking at it, I was like, the fountains really isn't the shot.
Yeah.
The shot is all of the people looking at the fountain.
Well, it's a story.
And so I got back and shot the people looking at, so that was the shot for me. So it's all about, I don't know if the other point is we have thinking about what you're shooting, but also constantly seeing. And so like whether you have a camera in your hand or you don't have a camera in your hand, you know, as a photographer, you kind of need to like train your brain just to see images. So like you should be seeing images in your head. I mean, a lot of times I just look at people and I'm like, oh, you know, this person's got some really great light on him right now. Like if I had a camera, that would be a great shot right now, you know?
look amazing.
How about
Larry.
you?
You're beautiful.
I mean, you
Thank
know,
you.
from my perspective, he's short lit. He's got a tiny little specular highlight on his head there.
Well, that's
but-
the thing. You just said the word. The
Give me
short.
a hug. Bring it in.
Yeah, bring it in. The process there is sometimes your initial thing is to shoot on this side, or people will face people right into the sun, and they're all squinting. And you know, sometimes just by turning them and maybe moving to the short side over here and shooting, you get this much more dramatic shot and things. There's just so many things that you and going
Little
to
details.
workshops and going to people and taking lessons and things and get away from YouTube. You know, I mean, there's some good stuff there, but still.
It's the first thing. Every time someone asks a question of how did you learn, and it's like, oh, YouTube, and it's like, you know, especially with Photoshop, there's so many things I got wrong on there. It'd be a different version, or someone taught you wrong, and it's like you do it over and over again. It's like it doesn't work, and it's just the wrong information. So be careful from the sources of where you learn this stuff.
I was just going to add, you know, and I'm not the first person to say this, I'm sure, you know, I always try to evoke the same emotion from the viewer that I had when I took the picture. And you were saying taking a step back and including the people with the fountains at the Bellagio, which are great, don't get me wrong, and you would agree, but it's the people and trying to capture what they're feeling. The little boy looking or pointing up at the fireworks.
Yeah.
I mean, that could take a good picture to great by taking that step back,
But as
or that
photograph-
different angle or whatever.
But as photographers, we're all trained to wait, especially landscape photographers, wait till everyone gets out of your picture and stuff. But you know,
there's a
you get this
place.
little person in the Grand Canyon. Like I took a picture of Monument Valley. There was a car in there. It's like this big. It's actually out on the wall out there in the studio. The car's like that big, and I could have edited it out in 2 seconds with my content aware, but I left it in there on purpose because it shows how ginormous
It
these
gives
monuments are in
perspective.
this little tiny car in the little road.
Well,
you
we've
know?
all been to the wave, and everyone has a picture of the wave. It all looks the same. Some of my favorite shots are that right when we arrived, and I came in kind of early ahead of the other guys. I had my camera out, and a couple of guys had came in around the corner and got into the main bowl of it the first time, and they got they're pumping their fists, and they made it in, and it's just that tells a story.
There's that emotion, that moment, that story. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So cool. So we want you to slow down out there. It's a common mistake to just take lots of shots and then I went out and this to a festival and shot 2,000 shots. You don't need 2,000 shots of like the state fair. You need like one good one. Another part of this that I want to bring up that we didn't get into this is don't show everyone everything. Show your best work only. Put out there only your really, really awesome stuff because that's what we want to see. If you put everything out there, there's so much mediocre stuff in between. Just show your best 2 or 3 shots and you're going to get a lot further. People are going to give you a lot more likes and comments and everything because that's all they're going to see.
Well, just quickly to add to that is go back and remove the older stuff. Especially if you're going to become a professional, you want to show your current and your best stuff.
Yeah, I need to go do that on my old accounts, like 500 pics and Flickr and all this stuff. I need to go erase a bunch of stuff. So cool. Leave your comments down below. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let us know if you want to slow down. If you don't care what we say, we don't care. You can tell us. We'd love to hear your comments, good or
buy
bad.
more mememory cards.
Yeah, go or buy bigger memory cards and take lots of pictures. It's not going to affect us, but again, save on hard drive space, save on get better quality pictures is our whole goal with this. So we'll see you next time. Subscribe.